As the saying goes, one man's trash is another man's treasure. In today's episode, we're going to be talking about how the Detroit Lions took the Los Angeles Rams' trash and made it into pure treasure with quarterback Jared Goff. Stay tuned, everybody. It's about to be fun here on Motor City Mania. It started with an owner who had a last name fans despised, hiring a coach that the experts thought was crazy,
But I got a plan, I swear to you.
who traded for a QB that was said to be washed up. They said the Detroit Lions would never amount to anything, that it would always be the same old Lions. But this team, our team, has a new identity, defined and expressed by the crazy head coach,
Doesn't matter if you have one ass cheek and three toes, I will beat your ass.
led by the QB that nobody thought was good. Motor City Mania is in full swing and ready to start. So join the show and be prepared for kneecap biting, because Motor City Mania starts right now. Hello everyone, and welcome back to yet another episode of MCM Motor City Mania. I'm your host, David T. Pike, and we're diving in right now. As always, to those that are returning to the show, I just want to say thank you all for coming back. Thank you all for your view, your support, your patience. Thank you for everything that you do. And to all the newcomers that are tuning into the show, I just want to say welcome all in, and thank you all for tuning in for the show. Hopefully you enjoy the content. Hopefully I gain your subscription. And with that, just want to say to everybody, God bless, and let's dive into today's content. So here's the thing, folks. If you've been with me since I first started being a podcaster way back in the day, because I've been doing it now for a little bit, I have been probably one of the most steadfast Goff defenders since the very beginning. There were not a lot of us, if you go back to the very beginning of when Jared Goff first got here. There were a lot of people that didn't like Jared Goff. There were a lot of people that were just literally hoping and praying that the Lions were going to move off of him. They just could not wait to get rid of Goff as quickly as possible. They were absolutely hoping and earnestly waiting for the Lions to potentially draft a replacement quarterback every single draft up until this last one to potentially get another quarterback on the roster that could potentially, in theory, challenge Goff for the job. But as I can sit here right now as I make this recording, I can say this. I was proven ultimately right with when I said what I said about Jared Goff. Now, this episode's not necessarily to be like I kind of told you so, kind of I proved you right. I think that the evidence has already proven that I was right 2 years ago, and as long as I've stayed on this bandwagon, it's proven me right. Rather, what this episode is going to do is going to show rather the transformative process of 1, the Detroit Lions, 2, Jared Goff, and also 3, the fan base itself and how it's taken a new perspective, a new look, if you will, at their new franchise quarterback. Because I'm going to say this right now, regardless of what anybody wants to say, Jared Goff is the quarterback, the franchise quarterback of the Detroit Lions. There's no debate about this. Jared Goff has more than proven himself to be the quarterback that the Lions need, to be the quarterback that the Lions want, and to be the quarterback that is going to guide this team for the next couple of years. At least 3, 4, 5 years, in my opinion, from current date to now. So for me, this is what this episode's about. So let's take a look at this, because let's be entirely honest here. It has been an absolutely just ridiculously amazing journey for Jared Goff, because if you think about it, his journey with the Lions is actually in some ways kind of emblematic of the Lions' journey as a whole, because think about it. Like I said just a moment ago, Jared Goff did not exactly have the most smoothest of transitions coming in as the new Detroit Lions quarterback. Like I said, there were a lot of fans that did not like him. They didn't like his play style. They thought he was a bust or washed up, whatever term you'd like to use. They thought that, why are the Thunder are we sticking with this dude? And you have to think about this. This whole thing goes back to when the actual trade itself happened, which, if you recall correctly, March 18th, 2021 was when the Rams and the Lions officially made that blockbuster trade where they swapped quarterbacks, Matthew Stafford and Jared Goff, and the Lions also got 2 first-round draft picks and a third-round draft pick in that deal. And I'm just going to say this right now before I go any further. When you take a look at that trade, first and foremost, obviously the Rams are going to be happy with the fact that, okay, they got themselves a Super Bowl out of the deal. But let's be fair and honest here. The Lions took that trade and they completely revamped and reworked their entire roster and, in my opinion, got the better quarterback long term because, well, one, Jared Goff is younger, Jared Goff is cheaper, and realistically, Jared Goff has much more room for potential growth than what Stafford has at this point in his career and what he had 2 years ago. But if you think about it, seriously, this has already been talked about ever since the end of this draft that we just had. But again, I just can't speak as high enough as I can about Brad Holmes. Brad Holmes was first and foremost a pure genius in being able to make that trade work with the Rams to get all that he got with Goff and in the draft capital. But then, what Brad Holmes did over the next 2 years to take those 3 draft picks and then double them. Because think about it here. We came out of that trade with 3 draft picks. By the time we got done with it all, we had doubled it from 3 draft picks to 6. We had drafted Ife Melifonwu, we had drafted Broderick Martin, Josh Paschal, Sam Laporta, J-Mo, and also Gibbs off of all of those picks. That's all from one trade. So you got Jared Goff, Melifonwu, Martin, Paschal, Laporta, Gibbs, and J-Mo all in that one trade. I'd say that considering what freaking Brad Holmes pulled off, that's absolutely just bewildering. And I'm so thankful that, once again, we have Brad Holmes because that is just pure genius right there. That is a GM that knows exactly what he's doing. He knows how to manipulate a situation to his benefit, and that's exactly what we got. But you have to go back to that actual trade when it happened with Jared Goff. Because let's take again a look at the initial narrative that was coming out from all the major media outlets and the local ones with the Lions. The narrative was, okay, Rams get themselves a supposed upgrade at quarterback to get themselves over the hump to go to the Super Bowl and win a Super Bowl. Okay, you could necessarily say that part of the narrative played out because, hey, Rams got to the Super Bowl, they won the Super Bowl. Is Matthew Stafford necessarily an upgrade over Jared Goff? No, not necessarily. I mean, he's got an upgrade in the fact that he's got a stronger arm and he's possibly a little bit more athletic, but that's about it. Otherwise, there's not much of an upgrade there. But the real narrative that has really drastically changed is the one that was surrounding Jared Goff. Because, again, you go back to what everybody wanted to say. National media outlets, Woodward Sports, 97.1 The Ticket, they all said the exact same lazy damn take that I had fought for 2 years to get rid of. Jared Goff's just a bridge quarterback. Jared Goff's just a transition quarterback. And all they wanted to say is that the Lions are just holding on to Goff until it's easily feasible to get rid of him because of his contract to find the next guy. And I told people for the longest time that is not the truth. Nothing could be further from the truth. Now, as we all know, as time has gone by, that narrative has drastically changed. And it has come, how do I want to put this? It's come in large part, first and foremost, due to the information that we've gotten out of the Lions organization, whether it's been with Dan Campbell, whether it's been with Brad Holmes, or what we've just heard from other people that have gotten insider access to the Lions, and especially with interviews with Ben Johnson, interviews with Jared Goff himself, so on and so forth. So this is all kind of coming from people that have gotten the ability to talk to people inside of the organization, but also just what people have seen on the field. So this is where we kind of take that jump into the next level of this whole conversation here. Because let's think about this here. The idea that Jared Goff was a transition or bridge quarterback has always been challenged by me and a few others. But I'm going to just keep saying this. I pretty much spearheaded the idea. I was like, listen, Jared Goff's not a transition quarterback. He's never been a transition quarterback. He's never going to be a bridge quarterback for the Detroit Lions. And if you think about it, from that moment where Jared Goff got traded and was at his introductory press conference to now, Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell have completely corrected and challenged that very, very lazy narrative. Because think about it. If you go back to the introductory press conference, Brad Holmes himself said that Jared Goff was not a bridge quarterback. They were not looking at him as a bridge quarterback. And Brad Holmes multiple times throughout the last 2.5 years has said that he never knew where that narrative came from. Jared Goff was never a bridge quarterback. He never considered him a bridge quarterback. It was never something that even crossed his mind. Then you take a look at Dan Campbell himself. Dan Campbell, for the most part, has always been extremely supportive and extremely complimentary of Jared Goff, and actually said in an interview with Bill Cowher sometime last year that he said, why would I not want to have Jared Goff as my quarterback? And it's like, listen, the proof is in the pudding. Why would you not want to have Jared Goff as your quarterback? Jared Goff last year was a top 10, top 5 quarterback, and according to PFF, surprisingly, he is the best quarterback in the NFL right now, according to their ranking system. And if you take a look at his stats, once again, he's in the top 5, top 10 category. So it's like, listen, when Jared Goff is playing like this, what team in their right mind wouldn't want him? So there's that. Then you have to think about the current situation that we're at right now. Brad Holmes, Dan Campbell, the entire Detroit Lions organization, they're trying to extend Jared Goff. They're trying to get him a new deal so that way he can stay in town even longer. And again, we've heard other things that have come out. There was an insider interview an insider access that was given to where people were talking about Ben Johnson and Jared Goff. I made a video about it a long time ago on my old channel. Unfortunately, it doesn't exist, and I'm kind of saddened at that. But the whole point is, you go back to that interview, you go back to that conversation that reporter had with Ben Johnson. Ben Johnson said that the biggest reason why he came back this year and not taking a head coaching job in the last offseason was because of Jared Goff. Okay, Brad Holmes has said it, Dan Campbell has said it, Ben Johnson has said it. Jared Goff is a huge component. He is a huge reason for the Lions' success. Does this all sound at all like an indication that the Lions have ever viewed that Jared Goff was a bridge quarterback? Absolutely not. This is not at all indicative. These actions, these statements are not at all indicative of a team that ever viewed Jared Goff as a bridge quarterback. Again, lazy, false takes that a lot of people, particularly Woodward Sports, tried to spearhead for years to get clicks. But anyway, let's keep moving on here. But you have to think about this. Not only has the narrative of a transition quarterback or a bridge quarterback also changed here, the other thing that's changed is how fans themselves have looked at Jared Goff for the most part. Because I'm going to tell you this right now. It wasn't just against Woodward Sports, 97.1 The Ticket, or anybody else that was trying to spew out all this negative media about Goff. It was also fans. I'm telling you this right now. I had more than my fair share of arguments with fans on freaking social media, whether it was Twitter, whether it was Facebook, you name it, I had it. And it was all because of the same stupid comments, the same dumb, ridiculous nonsense that I had heard about Jared Goff for years. Oh, he's got a noodle arm. He can or he won't throw deep. He's non-athletic. He's timid. He can't run the ball. Oh, his ball looks like a freaking dying duck when it comes out of his hand. It's a flutter ball. Or he can't win without Sean McVay. I'm telling you this all right now. All of those statements, all of those falsities, that's not even a word. All those falsehoods that I just talked about with Jared Goff have all been proven wrong, and I have proven a lot of them wrong with stats, with film review, and a whole bunch of other things. Because think about it here. Jared Goff, over the last 2 years, and we've already seen it this year, has been able to throw the ball deep and consistently accurate for the last 2 years. Ever since 2002 coming into this year, he's done it. Okay, non-athletic. We already knew Jared Goff was not exactly a rushing threat or a gazelle, but that's not to mean he can't run. That doesn't mean that he can't use his legs to try and score. We've already seen it twice this year. So there's that. And let's again consider this. Jared Goff, okay, you want to talk about the fact that his ball's not a perfect spiral? Here's the point of the matter. Doesn't matter if it's a perfect spiral. What matters is it accurate, and it definitely is accurate. Jared Goff is one of the most accurate quarterbacks in the NFL. If you don't believe me, take a look at his completion percentage right now. It's one of the highest in the NFL. And again, I know a quarterback that just retired about 5-7 years ago that didn't exactly have the most prettiest spiral either, but he was laser precision surgical with his accuracy. You want to know who it was? It was Peyton Manning. So I really don't care what the ball looks like coming out of his hands, so long as it's accurate on time. So flutter ball doesn't matter in my opinion. And, can't win without Sean McVay? Let's think about this. Jared Goff won 9 games last year, over 500 for the Detroit Lions. The Lions right now are 4-1 this year. I think Jared Goff has proven he can win without Sean McVay. Now, don't you? So again, you have to think about it. All these false narratives, all of these false ideas that either fans supported, the media pushed, all have been proven wrong time and time and time again. And again, it warms my heart that so many people have come to see the light from all of these negative falsehoods that have been pushed out for years and are now seeing Jared Goff as the quarterback that I always knew that he was. He just needed some time and he just needed some damn weapons. And again, let's keep going down this gravy train. Because, again, like I said, I kind of led the charge on this whole thing, pointing out all of these different things for multiple years. Again, you talk about the fact that over the last 2 years, I literally was spearheading this charge. I got a lot of flack for it. I had people that attacked my old channel. They attacked me personally. They even attacked me in private. I'm not going to, again, name any names, but y'all know who I'm referring to here. And again, most of them spoke negatively about Jared Goff because they were looking for clicks. They were looking for stuff that was going to get them views. And again, everybody follows the same pattern here. But again, I stick to truth. I stick to reason. I'm not necessarily in it for clicks or views. I'm in it to build an actual audience that knows that when I get in front of the camera, I stand by what I'm saying unless 100% I am proven wrong. And if I'm proven wrong, I will admit when I'm proven wrong. But again, you have to think about this. All the stuff that's happened over the last 2.5 years, ever since Jared Goff got here, Goff has embodied the total ideology and mindset of this Detroit Lions team. And more importantly, of the ideology that head coach Dan Campbell has put into this team, which is a perfect embodiment of the city of Detroit. Because think about it. The city of Detroit is a hard-working city. It's a city where it's literally, you got blue-collar workers. They're going to go and do it. They're going to put their nose to the grindstone. They're not going to complain. They're not going to whine. They're just going to do their job, and they're going to do it to the best of their ability. That's exactly what Jared Goff does. That's exactly what Dan Campbell expects out of this Detroit Lions team. And again, you kind of have to think about it here. If you think about it, over the last 3 years that Jared Goff's been here, because now we're going into year 3 with Jared Goff at the helm, Jared Goff has kind of developed a bit of a feisty side to him. Not saying that necessarily, he mouths off at media reporters, but he's got a bit of a feisty side to him. When people kind of call him out or they say something that was kind of like, a negative connotation about him or something about the Lions offense in the past, he kind of steps up to it and gets a little feisty about it. Case in point, let's go back to 2022 in the training camp period. Goff was asked sometime by some reporter about, the fact that the Lions were throwing the ball a lot more deeply because, in 2021 we didn't throw deep at all. Jared Goff responded and said, well, I didn't know that we threw deep in Detroit. Kind of like being like, hey, yeah, we do throw the ball deep here. We're just not going to take shots that are unwarranted or stupid. So that was the first instance of that I could remember. Then you go back to this training camp this year. Some reporter asked Jared Goff about J-Mo liking that tweet about Lamar Jackson coming to Detroit. And you want to know what Jared Goff said? He's like, you guys are bored, aren't you? And it's like, dude, that's a perfect response because it's like, listen, nobody gives a care about the tweet. The tweet is just literally something that J-Mo decided to do. Jared Goff's the quarterback. That was never going to be in question. There was no way Lamar Jackson was ever coming to Detroit. So for Jared Goff, it's like, dude, you guys are just bored. You guys are asking a really mundane, ridiculous question that nobody really cares about except you guys. So there was that. And then you go to just what happened here on Thursday night against the Packers. Then there was Fitzpatrick who decided to open his mouth and say that Jared Goff was a poor man's Matt Ryan. And freaking after the game, what happens? Jared Goff comes in, he's like, I didn't know I was a poor man's anything because Fitzpatrick opened his mouth. Again, you're seeing that hard work, that gritty, tough, feisty attitude that's coming out from Jared Goff. And you want to know what it is? It's a perfect embodiment of the type of leadership that Jared Goff is. He pretty much is like, listen, I don't care what you think of me. I don't care what you think of our team. We're going to go out. We're going to do our jobs. We're going to win so that way you can't ignore us. Forget what anybody else says about us. We're here to work. We're here to win ball games. We're here to win, which again goes right into the entire embodiment of Jared Goff himself. Again, Jared Goff has said it. Listen, I don't care about money. I don't care about anything else. I care about winning. And again, the best way to kind of have this whole mindset is think about it. Even though Jared Goff has developed that feisty side to himself, he's not necessarily being, kind of having an attacking personality. He uses humor to diffuse a lot of the situations. So again, he's letting his play do the talking. When people want to ask him this kind of stuff, he uses his dry wit and his dry humor to kind of bust the situation open so that way nobody feels like they're being attacked, which again, great leadership, great communication skills by Jared Goff, which if you're going to be a quarterback in the NFL, you definitely need to have those capabilities. Now finally, here's the one last thing I want to throw into this about Jared Goff, because here's the thing. I brought this up in an old episode on my old channel here, but this was something that I just couldn't pass up. I couldn't not leave it out. Because you have to think about just how prolific Jared Goff has been as a quarterback since he got into the NFL. Again, this is once again trying to dispel those narratives that Jared Goff is not good, that he's just a benefit of a system, blah, 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 blah. Let's think about this here, folks. First and foremost, Jared Goff has the track record of turning around 3 different football programs since he was in college. He turned around the Cal Bears program, he turned around the Rams program, and he helped turn around the Lions program. So if there's any quarterback that I want to have on my roster to turn around a floundering program, it's Jared Goff, first and foremost. Then, let's take a look at these stats since Jared Goff came into the league in 2016. He has the 7th most passing yards out of all quarterbacks that are active right now in terms of passing yards. He has 27,119. He is 8th most out of all active quarterbacks in terms of passing touchdowns with 164. He's 6th most out of active quarterbacks in terms of total wins since 2016 with 58. He's tied 8th with most 4 passing touchdown games with 7. He's tied 5th with most 5 passing touchdown games with 1. He's tied 8th with most 100 plus passer rating games with 41 since 2016. He's tied 1st out of the most 158.3 passer rating games or perfect passer rating games with 1 since 2016, of which there's only 8 quarterbacks that are active that are on that list. He's tied 6th for most 400 passing yard games since 2016 with 4. He's tied 1st with most 500 yard passing games with 1. And again, only 4 active quarterbacks on that list. He's tied 3rd out of most 300 yard passing games since 2016 with 31. And that's again out of all active quarterbacks. And he's tied 3rd fastest in NFL history to reach 25,000 yards, tied with Peyton Manning and Kurt Warner, both Hall of Fame quarterbacks. That right there is a pretty outstanding list of accomplishments for a quarterback that supposedly was a bridge or transition quarterback that came to Detroit. And again, that's all the while that he's gotten 3 Pro Bowl appearances, he's been to a Super Bowl, he's been on the NFL Top 100 multiple times, either with the Rams and now with the Lions. Speaking of with the Lions, think about this one for a moment, folks. Let's just consider this. I just talked about all those stats that he's done since 2016. Consider this. Since joining the Lions in 2021, of those 27,000 passing yards that I just talked about, almost 9,000 of those to date are with the Lions. That's 33%. Of those 164 passing touchdowns, 57 are with the Lions. That's 35%. Of those 300-yard passing games, 7 are with the Lions. That's almost 25%. It's at 23. His 4 passing touchdown games, of the 7, he's got 2 with the Lions. That's 29%. And his 100-plus passer rating games, of the 41 that he has, 14 have been with the Lions. That's 34%. So in 2.5 years with the Lions, because again, it is the 3rd year this year, but we're only about halfway through the season. In 2.5 seasons with the Lions, Jared Goff has put up an impressive body of work. Absolutely stupendous. And again, all since joining the Lions, because let's think about this, 2021. Lions were rebuilding. Lions were pretty much in a point where they were dead in the water thanks to Bob Quinn and what Matt Patricia had done. But yet, since joining the Lions back in 2021, Jared Goff has transformed this team along with the likes of all the other players that have joined, Amon-Ra St. Brown, David Montgomery, the rookies, all the players that we had that came in during free agency. Literally, you think about this, as far as I'm concerned, like I said long before what Holmes had just said, literally here, I think it was a day or two ago, the idea, the narrative that Jared Goff was a bridge quarterback, lazy reporting, lazy analysis. And I said that for years. But again, as the title says, one man's trash, another man's treasure. The Rams, in my opinion, they foolishly discarded Jared Goff, and now they're paying the piper. And I guarantee you this, the Lions organization, the Lions players, and now Lions fans are more than eternally glad that we have got a quarterback like Jared Goff that's going to lead the way for the Lions for the next couple of years. So that was the whole point of this episode today. Again, we kind of got a little bit of a lull because the game's not until tomorrow. Speaking of the game, I'm going to be on vacation, so I'm not going to be doing my normal live stream or my post-game analysis on Sunday. I will actually do that on Monday, and once I get back from my vacation. I wanted to make sure to let you guys know that all right now, but I will not be streaming the game. I will not be doing my post-game analysis until Monday night. So hopefully I'll see you there. Hopefully I'll get the boys there. If I can't, we might have to push it back a little bit further, but we'll see what happens. However, though, we've reached the end of this episode, so I just want to say thank you all for watching yet another episode of Motor City Mania MCM. If you like what you saw, by all means, I highly encourage you all to do one of these three things. Like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. If by chance you subscribed in the past and you forgot to do so at the time, or you just subscribed, you've not had a chance to do so, first and foremost, I highly encourage you all, make sure you do hit that subscribe button, but also, once you do hit the subscribe button, make sure you also turn on that bell notification icon at the bottom of the page, so that way you never miss any more content that I push out. Again, subscription numbers are always going up, but we want to make sure we turn that bell notification icon on, so that way you guys never miss my latest updates or my latest content, so you're always up to date with what I have to offer. And I also encourage y'all, please share this content with your Lions friends and family members. Share it on YouTube, share it on Twitter, share it on Facebook, share it everywhere and anywhere you can with everybody and everybody you can. Please, let's continue to help spread the channel. And with that, folks, this is MCM signing off for now. And until the next time we meet, I just want to say, God bless, thank you all for what you do, and I'll see you all in the next episode.